Last week we really focused on dual purpose wheat, and Brian, there's a difference whenever it comes to applications of soil fertility on the grain only applications.
Yeah, traditionally we would go with similar. We would make sure there's some up front and then apply in the season. But we're really trying to move away from that. We've got a lot of new research that supports what we've been talking about for many years now. With grain only wheat, we do not need a lot up front. We put it up front for dual purpose so we get that biomass, that forage, but that forage in the fall and early spring isn't that beneficial for the grain crop. And so recent research, we brought in a lot of the work over the last 5 or 6 years to compile about 34 research studies. And of those 34 research studies that have points where we compare all nitrogen pre-plant versus all nitrogen in season, the numbers are really shocking. So out of those 34 experiments, of about 5% of the time that the pre-plant outperforms in season. And typically that's because the in season one is an application made when it should have been made. There's about 1/3 of the time of those sites that we get better yield when we wait to an in-season application. And the rest of the time, so about 60% of the time, it's a wash on yield whether you apply pre-plant or in season. But the big win is that 85% of the time that in-season application gave you better protein for when you hauled it off. So that means your yield is going to be the same with the 33% chance you make more, but you have almost guaranteed probability that your protein is going to be better if you wait to in season.
So if I'm understanding you right, you're saying hold off on nitrogen applications, at planting, but really put all the chips in season.
Yeah, I am really saying that. That's what we're moving to. I still want a little starter down, some 1846-0, 1152-0, something going down in furrow, providing some phosphorus, a little bit of nitrogen starter. But on my research, we're going with very, very low residual nitrate levels, and most farmer fields have quite a bit more than I'm working on research. And what happens is that reduced nitrate and nitrogen levels early is keeping us a little bit more smaller, more compact plant. There's research that shows it actually might make the plant explore the soil more to find more nitrogen. We're doing more work on that. But once it gets into spring green up, that's when we load it up, because that's really when the plant needs it. And applying it in the spring green up, February through March, is really getting us it when the plant needs it. We can take stock in. If the stand is miserable and we don't have much to work in, we don't have to put anything on. But if we're going into the spring, everything looks good, we have good soil moisture, that's when we really apply the nitrogen to it. That's when the crop needs it, and it makes sure the nitrogen is still there when it comes time to building the grain, which means that's when we get the protein.
So with that, when would be a good time to say put out an enrich strip for a monitoring process?
So the enrich strip timing is the same as always been. It can be as early as now, pre-plant, all the way through November, early December. So basically focus on getting your wheat in the ground, get in a good stand, slow down, make sure you have good seed soil contact, you're setting those drills properly, you get the right starter in, and then you can go out and put out the enriched strips. If you're putting it out and it's dry, I would recommend using liquid so you get that in the system. It helps better with the liquid. But the whole dry thing and waiting, it's not really about the crop for me right now, waiting for the crop. It's about waiting for the right time to apply and not getting in a rush and applying when the weather's just not optimum. And so this big window lets us get our strips down whenever. We could use liquid, we could use urea, maybe safe in the urea, but it can wait. You gotta remember too, I like to remind people, if it's too dry to apply fertilizer, the crop's usually not using a lot of nitrogen because it's just dry. And so we don't need to rush it on then.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Brian Arnall, Soil Nutrition Precision Nutrient Specialist here at Oklahoma State University.